Hey, Level Up Co listeners, I have really exciting news for you. Our brand new course, The Revenue Multiplier, is open for enrollment and the doors are closing tomorrow. This is an incredible course teaching you how to make money outside of the wedding industry. So, for Taylor and myself, that looked like creating digital products, diving into education, and for Paul and I, creating a corporate commercial brand that honestly made three times more money than our wedding brand did. It's a self paced course with a step by step system on how you can create a brand new revenue stream this year in 2025. We hope to see you inside. It's truly an incredible program. And as a reminder, the doors close tomorrow. Head over to thelevelupco.com/revenue and we'll see you inside.
This is the Level Up Podcast. I'm Taylor Petrinovich.
And I'm Kelley Gilster of 618 Studios.
And we are on a mission to help wedding filmmakers and photographers level up their businesses so you can make more and work less.
We want to help you confidently take your business from mainstream to luxury, and it all starts right here.
Hey friends, and welcome to another episode of the Level Up Podcast. I'm Taylor Petrinovich, and I'm joined by my best friend and co-host, Kelley Gilster.
Hi guys, Taylor, how are you? How was your birthday last week?
Oh my gosh, it was so fun. I'm not like a big birthday person. Like I'm not saying it's like my birthday month or anything like that, but very much so like entering a new year, like January 1st. It kind of feels like that. Like, all right, this is my time to like start fresh and like I failed to the last 22 days of January starting fresh, so I have another another try heading into my birthday. So actually so I'm 33 now, and I want to start like this 33rd year, well, 34th year, I guess, because you start when you're 0. But year of my life with something crazy. Like I want to do 75 hard or something. I feel like I need a little bit of like a challenge or a year defining like thing. And I'm kind of like thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. I haven't committed yet, but um yeah, I don't know.
75 hard is very hard. I made it 50 days into 75 hard, but it was in 2020 when like all of us weren't really doing anything anyways. So all I had to do was like do 2 workouts a day and drink a gallon of water and read the books in the pages and take the progress pictures and whatever else it is. So I will say, I tried to attempt 75 soft. I've been trying to attempt so many things because, as we talked about a few weeks ago, Taylor had her glow up year last year, but this is my glow up year because I had a baby last year. So now I am, at the time of recording, 8 months postpartum, and our breastfeeding journey has ended. So my body is officially mine. So I can do anything I want, but I'll be healthy about it. So honestly, I've realized that my thing is Whole30. It just is. I love it. Like, I've tried to do other things. Like, I'll text Taylor and be like, I'm doing carnivore. And then, like, 3 days later, I'm like, that sucked. And then I'm like, I'm going to do 75 hard. And then I just didn't have the time. But Whole30, it works for my life. So if you're listening and you've tried things and it didn't work, just keep looking until you find your thing. And Taylor, maybe your thing could be 75 hard. You are a very regimented person, so I could see this being successful for you.
I thrive in structure and I feel like maybe it could work. The only thing is like we have upcoming travel actually very soon on the podcast. You guys are gonna get a bonus episode this week, which is very exciting. So stay tuned for that. But within that bonus episode, I'm gonna be talking about something that Kelley and I are doing in March, which could like be a slight roadblock to like the 75 hard journey. But it's wedding related, so that's fun. But okay, we digress. You guys, as you know, we love to yap. We are professional yappers through and through. We don't want to waste your time though. So we're gonna get into the topic. As you know, we have been chit-chatting all year since the very beginning of January about making money. You guys, we love the wedding industry. We love our craft. We are artists. But at the end of the day, this is a business. We're entrepreneurs. We need to make some money, and money makes the world go around. As much as we hate that that's a fact of life, it is a truth of life. So we want to help you make more of it. And I promise, after this episode, we will give you guys a break from hearing about money because I know we've been talking about it a lot, but give us one more time, one more chance here. So stay listening. We want to talk about 3 ways that you can make more money in 2025. I don't think anyone wants to make less money, so the only other option is to make more of it. And there's 3 ways you can do it as a wedding creative, and it's very, very simple. And we can teach you how to do all of the ways if you want. So, Kelley, what's the very first way?
The very first way to make more money in 2025, it sounds very obvious, but it's not always as easy as it may seem, and it is to raise your prices. Here at the Level Up Co., we are huge on transparency. We have lots of people, like when we bring on people onto our podcast, we have a box that they can check of, are you comfortable with sharing how much you charge? How much you make per wedding, how much you make per wedding weekend. And then we even like to break it down. We're like, okay, does that number include travel? Like we like to really get into the nitty-gritty of the numbers because transparency in the industry is what is going to help all of us as a whole thrive, make better business decisions, and really be able to take our businesses to their full potential. If you're just kind of sitting under a rock thinking that every single photographer or filmmaker is capping out at $5,000, then you're going to adopt that mindset and you're never going to grow too. So that's why we're really big on sharing our personal numbers, talking to our guests about their comfortability on sharing their numbers. And so anyways, raising your prices is the very first way. Taylor, let's dive into how that can look, how that can happen. There's so many different avenues.
So many avenues. Okay, so I have very specific thoughts. I am a very extreme kind of girl, as you probably have gathered. Like wanting to do 75 hard feels pretty extreme. So, although my personality type is very inclined to be like, how can we maximize this? And how can I double it? Like, it's not enough to just like creep forward a little bit. Like, I want to make big changes. That's not always practical and it's not always like the best route. I am actually counterintuitively a huge fan of the concept of like just getting 1% better every single day. And I like to approach raising my prices in that way too. So we're big on championing, championing people to do all the great things, charge your worth, increase your prices, all those things. But that's only one half of the equation. You have to also have a reason that you're raising your prices. So it could look like you are now straight up just better at what you do. The product that you're creating, the imagery you're creating is now higher quality and it's better. So I think that warrants a price increase. Or you are now, showcasing your value through your brand. That's a more of a perceived value thing. Like think of buying a handbag from Target versus a handbag from Louis Vuitton. Like they have the same function and they hold your stuff just as well. But one of them kind of has this air of being more luxury simply because the brand name attached to it. And we can, in like a similar, less extreme way, do that through our businesses in the wedding industry too with our branding efforts. So,
Which we talk about inside of our program, The Luxury Mastermind.
yeah, people sleep on the branding thing. I think that what happens as photo video people is we get so hyper fixated on the actual craft, on like capturing weddings, even things like posing or drone stuff or like how to best capture details, flat lays. Like there's so many things to learn that it's easy to like forget or neglect different areas of your business that maybe as an artist feel less fun to focus on. Like unless you're somebody who loves like website design, like you're probably not like waking up every morning excited to like improve that area.
But I feel like you do, Taylor. You're the type that
I'm
like
yeah.
I'm gonna be totally honest. I'm like on the cusp of like announcing a rebrand, which is really exciting. But we just have so many things, so many irons in the fire right now with Level Up right now that I just kind of have to like divert my kind of attention to those separate things. But I'm sitting on this really fun rebrand. But as of now, at the time of recording, if you go to my website, 618's website, I have not made any changes to that banner film in almost 3 years, where Taylor's the complete opposite. She is so great because she'll shoot a wedding that is like steps ahead of a wedding that maybe currently lives within her banner film, and she swaps it out like almost immediately. Do the things that Taylor does. She's, like, so just she goes after it.
Well, I kind of have this philosophy where you should only be working in your business half the time. So that's things like editing, answering emails, blah, blah, blah. So you should only be working in your business half the time. And then the other half of the time, you should be working on your business to like move forward. So I think that's how I just like look at it. It's like it's not enough to just like be editing all the time. Like you're never gonna grow that way. And so because I have such like this like black and white way that I look at the world and like I must be moving forward at any given time. Like it just comes naturally to me. Um,
You're
yeah,
my
I don't know.
favorite robot friend.
I'm such a robot, guys. And I mean, there's pros and cons to being robotic. Like Kelly's are like relationship girl. Like she's like all about connecting and like having all the stories and all those things. And I'm like A, B, C, D, E. But it's fine. I feel like different personality types like gravitate towards different like styles. And so that's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is like
No, but
such a
that's great.
tangent. Sorry, guys.
No, little tangent. So, raising your prices, and the best thing,
Mhm.
okay, like Taylor said, 50% on your business, 50% in your business, and a majority of those in the United States are in their off season. Not everybody, we understand. Those in Florida, even like, well, there even some parts of California. So Taylor and I were just in Palm Springs a couple weeks ago, and Palm Springs, because it's a desert, is getting ready to ramp up their wedding season. Like March is insane, April's insane. It's like kind of opposite. It starts
And then they take the
earlier.
summer off. Yeah.
Yeah, and probably same thing with Arizona, I would say too. Like they're
Mhm.
just entering their season. But you still have some time before I feel like it gets like really crazy because we don't have this big backlog that we're working on. So now is the time to be working on your business.
Yeah.
Now, number 2, or anything else to add there, Taylor?
I mean, we could open a huge can of worms and literally talk about it for 8 hours with you. Um, but I mean, that's a big part of our brand is raising your prices, so I think you guys get it. Also, you could hop into the luxury mastermind this upcoming round. We're launching it again in May. If you want to save your seat, go to thelevelupco.com/mastermind. And we would love to have you inside. There's actually a lot of people already in the RSVP like saving their seat kind of
Yeah.
holding tank, which we're
Yeah.
excited to see. But here's the other one. And the next one may not suggest as being the best option, but it's an option. And it's
It's an option.
booking more weddings. You could. You could
Yeah.
book more weddings for sure.
So, as mentioned at the beginning of this, you heard about how the doors are closing, but there's still an opportunity to enroll in our brand new course, The Revenue Multiplier. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I started my business in 2010, and it took me 8 years of just doing weddings to then realize that I lifestyle creep was happening. We had bigger goals on the horizon. And all of a sudden, what was once a sustainable income for just Paul and I, we looked into our near future of having kids and doing all of these other big life things, achievements. And all of a sudden, weddings weren't going to cut it. Like with what we were making, like we were feeling a little bit trapped and capped at
How many were you
our,
doing at that time?
I mean, we were still doing like 27 a year. So, like, that's a lot. Like, between 24 to 27 a year was what we were doing at that time. And we had done 30 in 2011, our very first full year, we did 30, and we were just so burnt out. And so we just kind of saw the writing on the wall of, okay, sure, we could, just grind and do more weddings, maybe do 35 weddings a year. maybe 30 weddings a year, 35, 40. I don't know. Like, what is it going to take to be able to live comfortably and reach the goals that we want to reach? But the problem with that is that we were seeing a disconnect with what we wanted our personal lives to look like. So the professional life over here, professionally, it would look like we were thriving, shooting 30 to 40 weddings a year, bringing in X amount in revenue. But on our personal lives, we could just see that we were setting ourselves up for failure. It wasn't going to be conducive for family life to be able to spend the weekends with our kids, to be able to see their T-ball games and their dance recitals and all of those things. And so that's going to kind of lead us into our third one, but we'll kind of stay in the second one for a little bit longer. But that just wasn't gonna be an option for us. It was gonna have to look like raising our prices, but that could only be done so much because we're entrepreneurs through and through. We don't have no one else in our household has a consistent income, and so we couldn't just take huge risks, in our business to, like, make big moves in our pricing to make lifestyle changes a reality for us.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. Yeah, so if you're gonna raise your prices, do it smart. Obviously, if you're able to take on risk, it's gonna be easier for you. We talked about that a few weeks ago here on the podcast, and then we actually talked about how once we diversified, we were able to raise our prices much faster because, like, that ability to take on risks, like, just in case people didn't book at this new price point, went up. So you can go take a listen to that one if you haven't yet. It was actually, I think we got a lot of great feedback from that one of it being kind of like an aha moment for a lot of people. But when it comes to booking more weddings, I feel like there's a few ways to approach it that you would have to explore, unless you wanted to burn out and like eventually quit, which we don't want that for you. Um, like outsourcing is like a big one. Like I think if you're
Yeah.
gonna book more weddings, you have to outsource something. You can't I truly don't think you can keep it all in house and like stay sane. So for most people that's probably going to look like outsourcing either culling or like all the editing or like a lot of that heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Um or you can add more weddings to your calendar by like growing your team and having like multiple team members, whether that be like employees or associate shooters. But the problem with that is it's such high overhead that although maybe on paper it looks like you just doubled your revenue, like you kind of didn't because you're not bringing all that home. Like the expense of having employees or having even contract employees shoot for you is such a high expense that it's not scalable. It's not as scalable as it appears to be. But it can be, but I think it's a whole other like a whole other beast once you start exploring those things and you're kind of putting the hands of your brand like in the hands of like other people where you don't have like ultimate control and it could be like a poor reflection. Maybe. I don't know. I've dabbled in it here and there and it scared me and so I kind of like pulled back from that.
I
Um
talked her off the ledge.
yeah. And I actually did like there was a few years ago where I had maybe like 3 or 4 associate weddings and, like, I remember, like, one of them, I was camping and, like, being tied to my phone with such limited service. I'm, like, trying to, like, find, like, little pockets of, like, cell reception at
Oh
this, like,
my
campground
gosh.
to be like, "Did you make it to the site?" Like, blah, 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 like, you know what I mean? Just wanting to, like, make sure because it's, like, scary to have your brand represented by somebody else. Anyway, so um I didn't have, like, thick enough skin or whatever to, like to do that at a scalable
Same,
level, and I stopped.
same.
Um
And I also didn't wanna do that too because I didn't wanna water down the integrity of our brand. Like, I had a
Mhm.
clear path of where we wanted to go in the industry, and the associate route was not going to get us there.
Yeah, and I mean, it works really well for a lot of people. Like, well, not a lot of people, but for some people, like, it could work. So we don't want if you're doing it successfully, like, we are not, like, naysaying you. Like, good for you, that's incredible. It was not a path that either of us wanted to take, and if I'm being honest, I think that's, like, the most uphill battle path. Like, that's probably the hardest. But obviously, the third one, you've heard us talk about it now, for a few weeks, is diversify your revenue, okay? So you can either raise your prices, which can be hard. You can take on more weddings, which is, like, a different kind of hard, or you can diversify your revenue, which is opening up a completely new way to make money And to me, that's the easiest path. That's the smoothest path because like you have any like it's not scaling any income. It's just like earning money that you like didn't have access to before. And so it's the
Yeah.
most natural way to like flood income into your bank account.
Yes. Why would you feel like it feels easiest to you? You kind of said, but like maybe let's walk through some other reasons why we highly believe in this being the pathway for so many.
So I think when it comes to anything, okay, so I hope this makes sense. Getting something 80% of the way there is really easy. Finding ways to, like, make it just a little bit better, like, is really hard, right? So, like, we talk about, like, fitness and, like, health and fitness and all that stuff. So it's like, let's say you have 100 pounds to lose. I don't know. Probably the first, like, 50 pounds will fall off of you, and then after that, you're gonna hit, like, a plateau, and it's really hard to start losing those last couple, like, at the very end because I feel like that's for clear reasons. And it's kind of the same way with scaling our business. Like you get started in the wedding industry and it's really easy to grow over the first few years to hit that like $5,000-6,000 mark, and then it's a natural plateau point, and the amount of energy it takes to get a little bit better and push a little bit farther like is exponential. It's like it's not like a linear graph like that. It's like this. Um, so it's kind of like that. You're starting all over with a new revenue stream, and it's easier to get it that one 80% of the way there, too.
Right.
I don't know if that's tracking. Does that make
No,
any
no, I
sense?
want to bring up something that you were saying. You're like, I don't know if this makes sense, but the losing 100 pounds example, right? So you probably decided this is my workout routine. These are my eating habits. Or maybe it's not even really eating habits. Maybe it's just I'm going to be getting in those 10,000 steps a day. And that is what's helping you maybe lose those first 30 pounds. And then you plateau. Okay. And this happens in our own businesses. We experience plateaus. I've experienced plateaus. Taylor's experienced plateaus. I'm sure if you're listening here, there's been years where you've felt a plateau. You've had a year of growth, everything's great, and then you hit a year where all of a sudden bookings aren't really happening as easily as they were, or you're getting told that you're too expensive, or the bookings just like aren't coming in like they used to the years prior. And so you'll reach that plateau. So back to that like weight loss journey, you have to find ways to now switch it up a little bit. You have to enter in now with a brand new strategy. And so maybe that new strategy is like, okay, let's tweak the diet, or let's increase the step count, or let's start lifting weights now. You're just
Actually,
like,
wait. I'm gonna interject
yeah,
because I think like so you can only increase that step count so much. So you doing
yeah,
10,000 and then 12 and then 15. Like who's gonna spend 8 hours a day walking to hit that 30,000 steps, that 40,000 steps a day? Like it's impractical. So you can't just keep scaling the way you've been doing it before because like you just kind of can't do that anymore. So you have to like go back to the drawing board and like see what you can like do in a completely different way. Like that's kind of how I see it. I don't know.
yeah. No, that
Does
makes
that make sense?
so
Yeah.
much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. And so, like I said, like there's only so say you want to make $200,000 a year through your primary wedding business, right? So like what's
Mhm.
that's going to look like? Okay. You say you're like, "Well, I only want to shoot 3 weddings a year." Quick math. Okay, you're probably not going to be able to charge what is that?
Like
70,000?
70.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like 70,000 a wedding. Like that's just not where are we gonna pull that extra from? Or you're like, I okay, then I'm just gonna book all the weddings. I charge 6,000 and I'm just gonna do all the weddings. You can only do so many weddings. There's only so many weekends in the year. There's off seasons that you're encountering. There's different inquiries coming in for the same date that you can't book 2 weddings in the same day, or you can only do so many in the same weekend. So that's why entering with this brand new strategy of diversification and using your already existing skills or the already existing knowledge that you already have to generate money is so great. And it honestly only benefits your primary wedding brand too. So like we're not
Mhm.
saying like, hey, like let's just forget about this brand. Like you've worked so hard on your wedding business to, demand the prices that you've demanded or work with the clientele or build the relationships that you've already had. We're not telling you like let's throw that all away. Let's like in tandem grow these two revenue streams together, and it's just a very harmonious like Honestly, it's so harmonious. It's something that I didn't realize was going to happen when I diversified. The fact that our
Mhm.
primary wedding business just, like, exponentially grew, it was so crazy.
Also, okay, so Kelly and I were talking about this on the phone a few weeks ago, and I was, like, telling her, I was like, I think that a lot of us use the word full-time in a very, like, loose sense of the word. So, in the wedding industry, it's really common to be like, "Oh, do you do this full-time?" Right?
Mhm.
And in the wedding industry, I think the definition of doing weddings full-time means it's my primary source of income. I do not have another job or, like, W-2 job, or I don't work in corporate America in addition to, like, doing weddings. I think that's what people mean when they say, "I do this full-time." In the rest of the world, in all other industries, full-time means 40 plus hours a week. And if we're being honest with ourselves, like, I think a lot of us say we are full-time when, like, we are not holding full-time hours. Like,
Yeah.
as wedding photographers or videographers, like, you are not doing 52 hours a week of 40 hours a week over and over and over and over again. I don't think that's the case for at least most people.
No,
So
I would
yeah, go ahead.
100% say that was not the case for me before I diversified. I had so much time on my hands that I didn't even know what to do with myself. I was, like, training for marathons and shopping at TJ Maxx every other day.
Kelly just took me to TJ Maxx for my
Oh
very
my
first time. You guys,
Okay,
I'm gonna tell
I'm
the story. I think this is so funny. Can I tell a story?
yes, and then can we Cassie, we're gonna send you our podcast editor, we're gonna send you a photo, and I think you should, like, overlay it. For those
Yeah.
watching on YouTube, you'll get a special little treat.
So we were at Kindred in Palm Springs, and my suit I brought a suitcase that I had purchased from Amazon. Actually, I bought it when I was getting ready to go to Nemacolin and, like, engage last year, and it's just from Amazon. It's like a no-name brand, like a pretend brand, you know? And so it's not always the best quality. And so I'm going to, like, pack pack my stuff to go home, and the zipper, oh, Sloanie.
If you're watching on YouTube, here's my almost three-year-old.
Mama.
Yes. Say hi to the people. She's so shy. Okay,
Aw.
really quickly, let me get her settled outside. You guys, this is the reality of Level Up Co. over here.
Mama.
All right, I'll be right back.
I'm just gonna tell my story while Kelly goes and does that to save time. Okay, so I'm going to pack my suitcase and the zipper breaks, like, completely breaks. Like, you know, when you, like, pull it around and you try to zip it and it's just, like, not actually zipping up, but you're moving the zipper. So that happened. So I don't know how I could possibly fly home with a full suitcase of things that would not be secured within the suitcase. And so we were trying to figure out how to, like, get the suitcase at least from the hotel room into the car. So we had to ask, actually, like, big shout out to Rich of Chart Photo. He was, like, an integral part of this whole, like, process, but he went and got, like, duct tape from the maintenance workers at the hotel, and we, like, duct taped my suitcase together. So luxury, like the epitome of a luxury brand with, like, her duct tape suitcase. And then, like, I had to wheel it through the hotel, and we're, like, saying goodbye, and, like, to, like, these big names. Like, we have, like, Sarah Falugo. Bye, Sarah Falugo. Look at my, like, my, like, taped up suitcase. Bye, Tori with Smith and James Events. Like, isn't this the
Taped up
most funny
suitcase.
thing?
Bye, Brooke Keegan,
Bye, Brooke
ultra
Keegan.
luxury wedding planner.
Luckily, like, we're all friends. It's fine. But I thought it was so funny. And then Kelly took me to TJ Maxx in Palm Springs to buy a new suitcase. And then we can put this picture into then I had to, like, crouch down in, like, a parking lot and, like, repack the suitcase. And then Kelly drops me off at the airport. Bye, Kelly. XOXO. And then I get a text, like a group text from, like, Paul and Kelly a few days later. He had gone to Costco and forgotten that, like, my broken suitcase was in their trunk. And now, like, he couldn't put, like, Costco things in the trunk because it took up the entire trunk. Anyway, it's such the saga of the suitcase, I think, is so funny.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Cassie, we're gonna send you imagery of all of these things because I have a photo of Rich duct taping it together. Then I have a photo of Taylor in the parking lot trying to put it through, and then I have the photo of it stuck in our back seat while Paul went to Costco for his haul. So it's like, oh my gosh. It's
Oh,
so
what a
good.
whirlwind. Anyway, where were we?
I have no idea.
I can't remember. It's fine. Okay, guys, basically, like, we want you to diversify your income is the whole point. We've seen, like, firsthand how it's affected us in our businesses, and it's allowed us to make more money than we would have ever made through our primary wedding brands alone. Like, there's no way. There's no way we would have made that much at this point in time. Maybe eventually, as we scale our wedding brands, like, it could get there, but there's no way sitting here and now it could be that way. So that was the only answer. It's easier to get 80% of the way there than to like continue to fine tune things. And it's faster to do that too. So you're opening it up, you're applying your knowledge in a different way, and you're adding like such amazing things back, especially if you choose to do education or digital products. Like you're adding like beautiful things back into the industry. Like you're helping other people like basically skip steps and like get the results faster, which we all want the wedding industry to move forward as a whole, like the rising tide, like lifts all ships and all of that kind of way to look at things. And I think that's a great way to like give back also to our community that like we love. I love being a part of the wedding community,
It's
you
so
know?
fun. Even
So
being at Kindred, which is like a retreat for wedding creatives, it just reinstills how many cool people are in the industry. Like it is so amazing. If you think about our industry as a whole, how much talent is in that industry is in this industry and just the really cool personalities and people, you kind of have to be because we have to be like working with lots of different personalities and lots of different types of people. And so it really takes special humans to make that all happen. And so we're just so grateful to be a part of that with you guys. We love to pour back into this community through education, through our digital products, through video presets, Illumlets that I created to be able to help people achieve the results that they want and reach the goals that they want. So, yeah.
yeah, it's kind of, like, we talked about this a little bit last week, but, like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So, like, by creating a Loomlets, like, you made it to where people don't have to recreate the wheel to, like, achieve that colored look that, like, you learned how to do. Like, it's just, like, giving them that instant benefit and, like, transformation. Like, us in our courses, like, sure, you could take the long way and get there eventually, or you could take our course and get there within, like, 3 months. You know what I mean? So, it's like, you're just, like, allowing people to, like, not recreate the wheel. Like, we don't all have to reimagine things from scratch. Like, we can just help each other out in different ways, whatever your strengths are.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love it. I think 2025 is a huge year for the wedding industry. I really do. I know that last year people felt like things were a little bit off. The the COVIDness was kind of settling from like, the surge that we had with weddings and everything started to get kind of normal again. But it also was an election year. So I think that that kind of also can play into things from what I've heard. I don't know. But yeah, I think 2025 is going to be really, really exciting for those. And especially, I think it's a great opportunity. I really do think it's a great year to take that first step into something brand new that you've never challenged yourself with or never discovered before. And we've said it so many times, but if Taylor and I can do it with our 1 million children, one of which decided to just walk in the door and be a part of our podcast for a second, um, you can do it too. And yes, you may be full time or feel like you're full time, but be really real with yourself. Actually sit down and track every once in a while. What are you averaging on your hours per week that you're pouring into your business? And with that leftover time that you may have, pour it into something that can be really life changing for you and your family. And for most of the time, that is to be able to bring some additional revenue into your household. So, yeah.
Yeah. One last time, guys, you can hop in at thelevelupco.com/revenue. We hope to see you inside. The doors close on Wednesday, January 29th at midnight Pacific time. So you have a little bit of time and we want you to really think about it. Just like think about it. Sit in that and if it sparks something in you, like just get started. There's no better time to start than today. There's like really never a better time to start than today. So we want to encourage you to explore that option with us. And we can't wait to guide you along this new journey of diversifying your revenue.
Yeah, we'll have the link in the show notes, or we'll say it one more time, thelevelupco.com/revenue. You can do this, my friend. We are here to guide you every single step of the way. It is a pre recorded course, it's self paced. You can do it as you go. It's always going to be available for you and it's never going to expire. So if you are this year wanting to dive into corporate and commercial work, there's a journey that you can take in that course to get you there, to be able to work, be able to get your very first clients, to be able to price your services in order to create, you know, big money proposals, honestly. And then maybe in a year, you're like, actually, I'm interested in digital products. You still have all of that at your fingertips. So that's really cool too.
Yeah. Yep. So hop on in. We would love to have you. The water's warm on this side of things, and we hope to see you inside. Thank you for joining us in today's conversation. Please help us reach more filmmakers and photographers like you by taking a screenshot and sharing it to social media. And don't forget to tag us at The Level Up Co.
And join us again next week, same time, same place, as we continue to level up the industry together.